After the cataclysm that struck down the gigantic dinosaurs, Earth underwent a remarkable transformation. Today, many extinct animals are more familiar to us than some species still alive. Among them, the dinosaurs stand out. Diplodocus is more famous than the aardvark, and Tyrannosaurus is more famous than the paramount dinosaurs. These ancient creatures have left an indelible mark on popular culture. For over 165 million years, these majestic dinosaurs dominated the Earth, occupying most ecological niches and leaving little room for other species. However, the Earth has faced great upheavals on 5 occasions, each with a profound impact on its subsequent history. When the non-avian dinosaurs disappeared during the 5th mass extinction, they left an immeasurable void. But in the natural world, one species' loss can be another's gain. This void allowed the evolution of mammals and birds, which are now highly diverse groups of animals. Without this extinction event, dinosaurs would likely have continued to dominate life on Earth, denying other animals the opportunity to flourish. Mass extinctions, in essence, changed the rules of the game and reshuffled the deck, dooming some groups while offering new opportunities to others. When the dinosaurs disappeared, our distant ancestors, the mammals and birds, thrived. These events set the stage for the world as we know it today. Mass extinctions are geological events that resemble relatively brief biological crises on the vast timescale of Earth's history. They involve the disappearance of at least 75% of all animal and plant species from the planet's surface. Over the last 500 million years, Earth has witnessed 5 mass extinctions, during which 75 to 90% of terrestrial species vanished in cataclysmic events. Today, more than 99% of all organisms that have ever lived on Earth have vanished due to species extinction. The phenomenon of species extinction, while tragic, is no longer surprising. Each of these great mass extinctions played a crucial role in the history of life on Earth, guiding it down new evolutionary paths as surviving fauna and flora were forced to adapt to changing circumstances. Paradoxically, these devastating events paved the way for the emergence of new and diverse forms of life. The first mass extinction, the Ordovician-Silurian extinction, occurred 444 million years ago. A geological event triggered a severe glaciation period, locking up vast amounts of water in an ice cap 3 times the size of present-day Antarctica. This process removed carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, causing a significant drop in Earth's temperature. Sea levels plummeted, and marine life faced habitat reduction and cooling. When sea levels eventually rose again, the reduced oxygen levels in the water led to higher concentrations of toxic metals, resulting in the extinction of 85% of all terrestrial species. The Devonian extinction, which began 383 million years ago, was likely caused by intense volcanic activity. Pulsating volcanic eruptions led to a sharp drop in oxygen levels in the oceans, spelling disaster for marine life. The Earth experienced another freezing episode, albeit shorter, lasting less than 1 million years. During this mass extinction, 75% of species perished. The Permian-Triassic extinction, occurring 252 million years ago, stands as the worst catastrophe in Earth's history. Over 90% of species succumbed to this devastating event. Massive volcanic eruptions released billions of tons of carbon, leading to global warming of unprecedented magnitude. The Earth's surface and ocean temperatures increased significantly. Acid rain rapidly altered the Earth's rocks, and oxygen levels in the oceans decreased by about 76%, wreaking havoc on marine life. Approximately 200 million years ago, the Triassic-Jurassic extinction unfolded. Geological events led to a warming of Earth's surface and an increase in atmospheric carbon dioxide levels. Oceans became acidified, hindering the development of marine species and further challenging life on Earth. In conclusion, mass extinctions are pivotal events in the Earth's history, shaping the course of evolution and ushering in new eras of life. The disappearance of the dinosaurs, while tragic, allowed other species to thrive and ultimately led to the diverse and vibrant world we know today. The 5th and last mass extinction, known as the Cretaceous-Paleogene (KPG) extinction, occurred approximately 66 million years ago. It was triggered by a major asteroid impact, which led to the loss of nearly 65% of the species on Earth. While this event remains the most famous mass extinction, it is not the deadliest in terms of the number of species affected. However, it is notable because it resulted in the complete extinction of all non-avian dinosaurs. The end of the dinosaurs is a momentous event that has captured the imagination of people around the world. Interestingly, humans had no role in this extinction event, as nearly 60 million years separated the last dinosaurs from the earliest human-like beings. The extinction of the dinosaurs is a dramatic chapter in the history of our planet, and it is still shrouded in some mystery, remaining one of the great enigmas of Earth's history. While scientists agree on a possible scenario for the extinction, there are still many questions to be answered. Before delving into the details of this extinction event, let's take a look at what the world was like during the time of the dinosaurs, specifically in the Cretaceous period, just over 65 million years ago. At that time, the Earth, when viewed from the sky, appeared somewhat familiar. The supercontinent Pangaea had already split into two continents, Laurasia and Gondwana. Later, Laurasia itself would split into two parts, eventually forming the future North Atlantic Ocean. The climate during the Cretaceous period was generally hot and humid, and sea levels were high. The vegetation was highly diversified, featuring ferns, conifers, and flowering plants, which dominated, thanks in part to the assistance of insects. In both the seas and on land, gigantism was prevalent. The oceans were ruled by a great variety of marine reptiles that occupied various environments, from coastal reefs to the open sea. These marine reptiles included plesiosaurs, which did not swim with their tails but used their legs transformed into swimming paddles. They fed on ammonites, fish, and other marine reptiles. Mosasaurs, distant relatives of modern lizards, ranged from 1 to 15 meters, 3 to 50 feet, in length and used their long, vertically flattened tails for propulsion underwater. They too fed on fish and other reptiles. All of these marine reptiles breathed with lungs, not gills, requiring them to surface regularly to renew their air supply. Some species, like the plesiosaurs, had nostrils too small for this purpose and swam with their mouths partially open, allowing water to pass through openings in their palates and out through their nostrils. They analyzed odors as they breathed. In addition to these reptiles, other well-known species inhabited the seas alongside them, including marine crocodiles, flat-bodied snakes, and sea turtles. One notable sea turtle, Archelon, lived in shallow seas and measured over 4 meters, 13 feet, in length. With its strong beak, it could break the shells of ammonites, bivalves, and other crustaceans. Sea turtles like Archelon could move quickly underwater, thanks to their large fins. Marine life during this time also included smaller creatures coexisting with the giants. Rudists, a family of bivalves, were prevalent and formed dense colonies, constructing reefs that provided shelter to various marine life forms, including fish, shrimps, and sea slugs. Rudists fed by filtering seawater and capturing plankton and debris. Plankton was a crucial component of the marine ecosystem during the Cretaceous period, and it included organisms like foraminifera, which are single-celled animals protected by a spiral-shaped shell. Some foraminifera could reach up to 8 centimeters, 3 inches, in diameter despite being composed of just one cell. Fish, representing the ancestors of modern fishes, were present in these ancient seas, although they were not yet very numerous. Mollusks and ammonites were also abundant during this time, with ammonites being recognizable for their spiral-shaped shells composed of chambers, with the animal residing in the last and often largest chamber. They moved using a small tube and had tentacles equipped with suction cups. This diverse and complex ecosystem of the Cretaceous period was home to a wide array of life forms, from giants like marine reptiles to the tiniest planktonic organisms, all contributing to the rich tapestry of life on Earth before the cataclysmic events that led to the extinction of the dinosaurs. During the Cretaceous period, which was just over 65 million years ago, the Earth's ecosystem was vibrant and teeming with a diverse array of life forms. One of the prominent features of this time was the presence of numerous species of ammonites, which numbered more than 5,000. These creatures had spiral-shaped shells and were protected by a series of chambers. The animal inhabited the last chamber, which was often the largest. Ammonites had tentacles equipped with suction cups and used their jaws, which resembled a parrot's beak, to seize and crush their prey. Belemnites, another group of cephalopods from this period, also featured in this rich marine ecosystem. Unlike ammonites, belemnites had internal shells. Their hydrodynamic bodies allowed them to reach high swimming speeds, and they captured their prey, including fish, using their 10 tentacles adorned with hooks. In the skies above, both birds and pterosaurs shared the air. Pterosaurs were a group of flying reptiles that coexisted with the dinosaurs. Among them, the Quetzalcoatlus stood out for its remarkable size, with a wingspan that could reach up to 12 meters or 40 feet. These pterosaurs were adapted to the gigantism of their time. Pterosaurs were primarily fish enthusiasts, but since they couldn't swim underwater, they relied on fishing in flight by skimming their beaks just above the water's surface. The beak structure varied among species. Some had long, fine teeth for filtering plankton, while others were toothless and likely acted as scavengers. On land, dinosaurs were the dominant group of animals, thanks to their extraordinary size and weight. They diversified and evolved on all continents, becoming the pride of the Cretaceous period. Dinosaurs were characterized by their dragon-like heads and long, sharp teeth, which continue to fascinate us today. Two of the largest land animals of all time during this era were Diplodocus and Brachiosaurus. Diplodocus, known worldwide, could measure up to 27 meters or 90 feet in length. Its elongated skull projected forward, and its nostrils were positioned towards the rear, above the eye sockets. This allowed it to analyze odors in its environment effectively. Diplodocus had well-aligned teeth at the front of its jaw, and as they wore out, new teeth replaced them. Its huge pelvis, reinforced with 5 fused vertebrae, supported its weight of approximately 10 tons. Its long tail served as a counterbalance to its neck and could be used defensively by snapping it like a whip. Diplodocus had a neck containing 19 vertebrae, which could reach up to 15 meters or 50 feet in length. While being a giant had its advantages, such as access to more food and improved defense capabilities, it also meant these animals needed to consume substantial amounts of food and support their immense weight. In contrast to these herbivorous giants, there were various carnivorous dinosaurs, ranging from large scavengers to small, agile predators. Tyrannosaurus is a well-known predator, but it shared its environment with other powerful species. One such group was the Spinosaurs, characterized by their long snouts, numerous small teeth, and an impressive claw on their thumbs. Baryonyx, a Spinosaur, measured nearly 10 meters or 30 feet in length. It was not completely aquatic but spent a significant amount of time near water to hunt fish. With its powerful arms and crocodile-like jaws, it was a formidable predator that could also hunt other land dinosaurs and scavenge for food. The Cretaceous period was not just the domain of dinosaurs, it was also a time when insects thrived. Insects of various kinds dug into the earth, crawled on the ground, or took to the skies. Bees, ants, and butterflies made their appearance during this period. These tiny creatures played a crucial role in the ecosystem, and the earth was covered with flowers. The first flowers resembled modern magnolias with large petals. Over time, these flowers diversified, acquiring different shapes and colors. They produced fragrances that attracted insects, forming a complex and intricate web of life in the Cretaceous world. The Cretaceous period was marked by the rise of flowering plants, which became dominant and transformed the landscape. These plants, also known as angiosperms, coexisted with other vegetation such as conifers, walnut trees, beech trees, plane trees, cycads, and tree ferns. Flowering plants produced nectar, a nourishing liquid, and pollen, which became essential food sources for insects. The pollination process was crucial for the reproduction of these plants. Pollen emitted by the male organs of flowers was transported by various means, including wind and rain, to the ovules of other individual plants. Insects played a significant role in this process as well. As they came to feed on pollen, they inadvertently carried it from flower to flower, facilitating pollination and the spread of plant species. Over time, the association between plants and insects grew closer, leading to a diversity of insect species. Dragonflies, cockroaches, and bugs also made their appearance during this era. One notable bee from the dinosaur era was Cretotrigona, which closely resembled some of today's tropical bee species. It featured special bristles on its legs that aided in pollination by fixing pollen when it landed on plants. While mammals existed during this time, they were relatively modest and reserved compared to the dinosaurs and reptiles that dominated the ecological niches. Mammals had to adapt to a nocturnal lifestyle as dinosaurs and reptiles occupied most of the daytime niches, leaving little space for other creatures. Mammals often sought refuge in caves, grottos, hollows, and underground, which constrained their size and way of life. Mammals adapted to their nocturnal existence by developing good eyesight, keen hearing, a strong sense of smell, and whiskers to help them navigate in the dark. They also possessed larger brains than reptiles, requiring constant energy to maintain their functioning. The development of warm-bloodedness and insulating coats allowed mammals to thrive in various environments. They primarily prioritized protein-rich foods, feeding on insects, other invertebrates, and plant seeds, which provided quick energy release and efficient digestion. The appearance of sharp teeth allowed them to catch, kill, grind, and crush their food efficiently. However, life during this time would soon face a cataclysmic event. A massive asteroid, roughly the size of Mount Everest and traveling at an extraordinary speed of nearly 65,000 kilometers per hour or 40,000 miles per hour, collided with the Earth's atmosphere. With a diameter of over 10 kilometers or 6 miles and a weight of a billion tons, this asteroid struck the Yucatan Peninsula in the Gulf of Mexico. The energy released by this impact was immense. It created a crater approximately 30 kilometers or 20 miles deep, and the impact was so powerful that it liquefied the Earth's crust within a radius of 60 kilometers or 40 miles around the impact site. The heat generated by the impact transformed all existing water into vapor. Animals within the immediate vicinity of the impact were killed instantly, and the event occurred so rapidly that they likely didn't have time to feel anything. Further from the impact site, animals faced a different fate. A flash of light was followed by a shock wave, which rapidly spread like a cloud of vaporized rocks. This shock wave covered a considerable area, and most animals in its path were killed by its violence. Those who could not find shelter quickly were the most vulnerable. Meanwhile, animals that lived in caves, on hillsides, or in hollows and trees had a better chance of survival as they found refuge in safe places. Fires broke out across the landscape, and the earth was engulfed in smoke. Dinosaurs, due to their gigantic size, struggled to find adequate shelter and were particularly vulnerable to the cataclysmic events unfolding. The shock wave released all its energy in about 10 minutes, but this did not cover the entire surface of the Earth. The aftermath of the asteroid impact continued with a massive earthquake, causing widespread tremors, cracks, and landslides across the planet. This earthquake was felt for several days. However, the worst was yet to come. A colossal tsunami, as vast as a mountain range, surged toward the coast, traveling at almost 1,000 kilometers per hour or 620 miles per hour. This immense wave collided with the coast, carrying animals, trees, and debris in its path. It then retreated with tremendous force, shaping new geological features such as hills, valleys, and canyons. As the tsunami subsided, millions of tons of rock propelled into space by the impact fell back to Earth as meteorites, ranging in size from tiny pebbles to massive boulders, striking the surface and causing a sharp increase in temperature. In less than a day, life as it existed during the Cretaceous period underwent a dramatic and catastrophic transformation due to the meteoric impact and its aftermath. The cataclysm that occurred at the end of the Cretaceous period had devastating consequences for life on Earth. Millions of animals were burned alive, and oxygen levels in the atmosphere increased as a result of the impact. This rise in oxygen contributed to the intensification of fires on the planet, adding to the destruction. Amidst the apocalyptic landscape, only a few survivors persevered. Some isolated dinosaurs roamed, struggling to survive in the aftermath of the catastrophe. Among the survivors was Purgatorius, an ancestor of today's primates. This small mammal, similar in appearance to a large mouse and capable of climbing trees, found itself in a unique position. While it had lived in the shadow of dinosaurs for millions of years, its physical adaptations gave it an advantage in surviving the cataclysm. This small creature played a vital role as the base of a lineage that would eventually lead to species such as the great apes and humans. Purgatorius had discreetly organized its life by feeding on insects and fruits found in forest habitats. With the extinction of many dinosaur species, it now had the opportunity to diversify and occupy ecological niches left vacant by the giants. The cataclysm also had atmospheric consequences. Clouds of ash and chemical elements released during the impact gathered and gradually veiled the sky. Sulfur, generated in large quantities by the impact, combined with atmospheric water to form sulfuric acid. This acid rain fell on the earth, causing harm to surviving animals. The showers of sulfuric acid burned the skin and flesh of creatures that were exposed. The effects on the environment continued as the clouds obscured sunlight, plunging the earth into darkness. This extended period of darkness lasted for several weeks, affecting life significantly. Plankton, which relied on constant light, began to die out. Dinosaurs, predominantly visual creatures, were heavily handicapped by the prolonged darkness. Small mammals that had evolved to be nocturnal hunters were better equipped to navigate the interminable night. They had already developed the sensory adaptations needed for nighttime activities. Their ability to hunt and thrive in darkness became a significant advantage in this new world. Vegetation also suffered due to the lack of sunlight. Plants that had survived the fires and initial cataclysm were deprived of the light they needed for growth. As a result, the large herbivores that relied on these plants for food faced diminishing food sources. After a few months, a cold snap descended upon the Earth, transforming it from a warm and lush environment into an icy and hostile one. The Purgatorius, like other survivors, sought shelter in its burrow to stay warm. It adapted to its new conditions by feeding on whatever it could find, a behavior that ultimately saved its life. Within a year, the planet had lost the majority of its life forms. Approximately 75% of the species that had once populated the biosphere disappeared. The ocean, too, saw a drastic decline in its inhabitants, with only a few rare species of fish and sharks remaining. The disappearance of the large reptiles left room for other orders to survive, albeit with much smaller populations. Turtles, crocodiles, snakes, and lizards were among the reptiles that managed to endure the cataclysm. However, colonial coral species, especially those in warm, shallow tropical waters, suffered a significant decline. Solitary corals, which thrived in colder and deeper regions, fared better. Among mollusks, ammonites and belemnites disappeared, while nautiloids, represented by the nautilus, and another group including octopods, squids, and cuttlefish survived. The disruption of the food chain, especially in the absence of light, had cascading effects. Plants withered away, leading to a shortage of food for large herbivores. In the oceans, the disappearance of plankton disrupted aquatic food chains, causing creatures reliant on plankton to die of hunger. However, some debris-eating animals managed to adapt. They scavenged for animal corpses, seeds, or plant debris to survive for several months. Their ability to hibernate and live in slow motion helped them endure the challenging conditions. The survivors of this cataclysm would go on to shape the new chapter in the history of life on Earth as they began to repopulate and adapt to the transformed world. Efficiency in resisting hostile conditions and adaptability to changing environments are essential factors that contribute to the survival of various species, especially in the face of catastrophic events like the meteorite impact that caused the Cretaceous-Paleogene extinction. One significant advantage for some animals, including mammals and birds, is their ability to maintain a constant internal temperature, known as being endothermic or warm-blooded. This characteristic allows them to be less dependent on external temperatures, which can fluctuate dramatically. This adaptability to a range of temperatures likely played a role in their survival during the aftermath of the cataclysm. Additionally, species that inhabit coastal or marine environments may have had an advantage. These environments tend to experience less drastic temperature changes and are more stable compared to terrestrial habitats. Being adapted to life near the sea may have provided these species with a better chance of survival. While it may seem like luck, it's important to remember that natural selection operates over long periods of time. Catastrophic events like the Cretaceous-Paleogene extinction do not allow for traditional natural selection to act, as the event's speed and severity cause widespread random destruction. The survivors of such events are those that happen to possess traits or characteristics that made them better suited to the new conditions created by the catastrophe. Over millions of years, these survivors may evolve and adapt further to their post-cataclysmic environment, leading to the emergence of new species and ecosystems. As the Earth gradually cooled and underwent geological changes in the aftermath of the cataclysm, it created opportunities for the diversification and evolution of life forms. The reorganization of ocean currents, tectonic movements, and the breakup of supercontinents all played roles in shaping the planet's climate and habitats. Ultimately, the disappearance of most large animals and the emergence of familiar life forms such as flowering plants, songbirds, and mammals marked a transition to the modern biological world. Some remarkable ancient birds like the Gastornis and Teratornis thrived during this period, occupying ecological niches in a world with fewer large land predators. The evolution and survival of species in the post-cataclysmic world demonstrate the resilience and adaptability of life on Earth, allowing it to rebound and thrive in the face of tremendous challenges. One group of creatures, for instance, displayed intriguing similarities to both horses and dogs. These creatures were about 60 centimeters or 20 inches in length, standing no taller than 20 centimeters or 8 inches. Unlike modern horses, they lacked hooves, instead having paw pads reminiscent of dogs. These herbivores, with around 40 teeth, primarily feasted on soft leaves and young plant shoots. They inhabited North America and were known as heptadonts. Further along the evolutionary timeline, there emerged a fascinating variety of creatures. Some resembled primitive tapirs, like Heptodon, measuring approximately 1 meter in length and still lacking the characteristic trunk of modern tapirs. Then there were creatures akin to early rhinoceroses, like Heraclius, slightly larger but hornless at this stage. These creatures were strikingly similar during this period, but their lineages would later diverge. Amidst this evolutionary tapestry, a creature named Phenacotus emerged. This medium-sized herbivore bore a vague resemblance to deer or modern horses. It measured up to 1.5 meters or 5 feet in length, possessed long, straight legs, and a narrow snout. Interestingly, its limbs ended in 5 fully developed fingers, allowing it to move much like modern tapirs. These primitive ungulates relied on their 20 claws, which would later evolve into hooves in modern-day species. During this time, biodiversity was vastly different from what we know today. While forests still thrived, grasslands were expanding, and herbivorous animals were adapting to these changing landscapes. Mammals explored new ecological niches, evolving into runners, gliders, swimmers, jumpers, and even the earliest flying creatures. Among the diverse herbivores, there were creatures resembling modern-day rhinoceroses, such as Brontotherium. These massive animals sported pairs of horns on their snouts, akin to elephants in size, measuring up to 5 meters in length and weighing as much as 5 tons. Their herbivorous diet consisted mainly of tender leaves and young shoots. Another notable herbivore from this era was Paracaton, measuring about 1.5 meters or 5 feet in length, 80 centimeters or 30 inches in height, and weighing around 100 kilograms or 220 pounds. Paracaton bore a resemblance to ponies. Despite lacking a horn, it belonged to the primitive rhinoceros family and was adapted to a wide variety of vegetation in steppe and open forest environments. The evolutionary journey also witnessed the rise of carnivorous mammals. One striking example is Hyaenodon, which appeared with a feline-like appearance. This robust predator featured a massive body, long tail, and sharp claws on each toe. Hyaenodon was an exceptional hunter with a highly developed sense of smell, powerful jaws, and impressive speed, capable of hunting various prey and scavenging when needed. As time progressed, around 55 million years ago, a group of mammals embarked on a different path, evolving into primates. These early primates, known as Placiadapiforms, were small, insectivorous, and arboreal, representing the first step towards the primate lineage. Among them was Purgatorius, a small creature that navigated the challenges of its environment during a meteorite impact. These Placiadapiforms diversified into numerous species, adapting to tropical regions. Their size ranged from that of a hamster to a squirrel, characterized by primitive cranial structures, small brains, and clawed digits. However, they paved the way for true primates, like marmosets, baboons, gorillas, and eventually humans. The transition to true primates marked a significant milestone. Alpheatalagius, from 55 million years ago, was among the earliest prosimians, a group that thrived across the northern hemisphere. These creatures showcased critical features that distinguished them from their predecessors. Their limbs developed into hands and feet with opposable thumbs, enabling them to grasp branches and manipulate objects. Their forward-facing eyes facilitated binocular vision, improving depth perception and precision in leaping across trees. Approximately 45 million years ago, the first genuine apes emerged in Asia. These omnivorous or vegetarian animals boasted large brains and intricate social behaviors. Among them was Egyptopithecus, a well-known and sizable rainforest dweller in North America, resembling modern howler monkeys. Egyptopithecus was an adept climber, traversing trees, foraging for fruits, and leading a diurnal lifestyle. The primate lineage continued to diversify, with unique adaptations in each species. Notably, primates shared common characteristics such as 5-fingered limbs with nails, opposable thumbs for gripping, improved sight with binocular vision, and intricate social structures. These traits enabled them to inhabit various environments, from tropical rainforests to subtropical regions. Primates exhibited a wide range of behaviors, postures, and locomotion methods. Some species leaped from tree to tree, while others walked upright on branches. In pursuit of safety and nourishment, they developed specialized adaptations like prehensile tails and the use of their hands for swinging. As mammals explored new niches, some embraced life in the treetops, unlocking a vast source of food and shelter from ground predators. However, three-dimensional movement in the canopy presented new challenges, including the risk of falling. Creatures in this high-altitude environment adapted with features like larger brains, front-facing eyes for precise depth perception, and color vision for identifying nutritious food. One such example is carpalist, a small mammal resembling a hamster but equipped with opposable thumbs and long fingers for effortless tree climbing. Its unique adaptations allowed it to thrive in the treetops, although it was not a direct ancestor of primates. In contrast, Coryphodon, a large amphibious herbivore akin to modern hippos, found its habitat in swamps and fed on aquatic plants. These creatures could grow to the size of a boar, reaching weights of up to 500 kilograms or 1,100 pounds. In this ever-changing world of ancient mammals, evolution produced an incredible variety of species, each adapted to its unique environment and way of life. These creatures, some of which foreshadowed the emergence of modern-day animals, left their mark on Earth's history, contributing to the rich tapestry of life's evolution. These ancient creatures, navigating the dynamic world of evolution, underwent remarkable changes that set them apart from their predecessors. They were shorter and more flattened compared to their placidapiform relatives. Their opposable thumbs allowed them to firmly grip branches and manipulate food. Their forward-facing eyes, although diminishing their lateral view, granted them binocular vision in 3 dimensions. This adaptation proved invaluable as they leaped from tree to tree, evaluating distances with precision and minimizing the risks of falling. Intriguingly, their cranial structures also underwent significant transformations, contributing to the expansion of their brain size. Around 45 million years ago, the first genuine apes made their appearance. These omnivorous or vegetarian creatures distinguished themselves with their large brains and complex social behaviors. They inhabited vast, swampy forests, sharing their habitat with primitive monkeys and small prosimians. One of the oldest early apes, Catapithecus, existed approximately 36 million years ago. However, the best-known and largest of these early apes was Egyptopithecus. Weighing between 6 to 7 kilograms or about 13 pounds, it thrived in the rainforests of North America, bearing a resemblance to the modern howler monkey of South America. Egyptopithecus exhibited a diurnal lifestyle and displayed all the characteristics that set simians apart from prosimians. Key features of Egyptopithecus included a larger cranial cavity, a totally closed eye orbit that isolated the eyeball from the temporal part of the brain, and eyes positioned closer together, which reduced the nasal cavity and olfactory capacities. Their powerful mandibles featured molars with relatively flat crowns. Despite the diversity among primates, there remained a remarkable unity in their anatomy. Their 5-fingered limbs, complete with nails and opposable thumbs, evolved to perfection, serving as both gripping instruments and sensory organs. Sight improved significantly at the expense of their sense of smell, with orbits directed towards the front to facilitate binocular vision. Primates' intricate social organization was marked by prolonged maternal care, delayed sexual maturity, and increased longevity. They typically lived in groups, varying from a few individuals to several hundred members. Females typically gave birth to a single calf, occasionally to twins, owing to physiological and behavioral reasons. Primates exhibited a wide range of sizes, ranging from 50 grams to over 100 kilograms or over 220 pounds. Their diets also varied, with smaller specimens leaning towards insectivorous or frugivorous diets, while larger ones tended to be omnivorous. They thrive primarily in tropical and subtropical regions, with most monkeys leading diurnal lives and prosimians adopting a nocturnal lifestyle. In their arboreal habitat, primates displayed diverse postures and modes of locomotion. Some climbed and walked on branches, while others moved quadrupedally on the ground. They were capable of running upright and performing lateral jumps. Some species even employed their tails as a fifth limb for suspension. Among the great apes, swinging movements on the ground, akin to a hanging motion, were observed. Their semi-erect, quadrupedal movement involved leaning on the second phalanx of the fingers, showcasing a unique adaptation. While the majority of primates utilized various modes of movement, bipedalism was a specialty primarily embraced by humans. This upright walking style marked a significant departure from the norm, distinguishing our species from the rest of the primate family. As mammals ventured into new environments, some sought refuge in the treetops, where a wealth of food and safety from ground predators awaited. However, this high-altitude existence came with the added challenge of three-dimensional movement, introducing the risk of falling. To thrive in this lofty world, these small beings of the treetops developed specific adaptations, such as larger brains and forward-facing eyes that allowed them to judge distances accurately. Color vision emerged as an innovation, enabling them to spot fruits and tender, nutritious leaves. Among them was carpalist, a hamster-sized mammal with rodent-like teeth. Its opposable thumb and long fingers facilitated easy climbing, while its less flexible elbows prevented leaping from branch to branch. Carpalus shared a close kinship with the early apes but was not a direct ancestor. In contrast, Coryphodon, a large amphibious herbivore akin to modern hippos, thrived in swamps and feasted on aquatic plants. While tusks in these creatures were not highly developed during this period, they were a significant part of their anatomy. In the annals of evolution, there's a remarkable story of creatures whose transition from land to sea is both fascinating and challenging to comprehend. Despite its name, which means king of reptiles, Basilosaurus is a mammal of enormous proportions, rivaling the size of an average human. This whale-sized animal possessed a jaw filled with teeth but lacked the blowholes characteristic of modern-day cetaceans. Instead, it had nostrils located in the middle of its snout, necessitating the act of raising its head out of the water to breathe. Additionally, it boasted two small hind legs that no longer served a purpose for walking or swimming. To navigate its marine environment, Basilosaurus relied on its long tail and fin-shaped arms to propel itself. Like other ancestors of cetaceans, it thrived in coastal areas, feasting on fish, crabs, and mollusks. As evolution continued to shape these creatures, their hind legs progressively diminished in size, while their arms and tails transformed into flippers. Nostrils gradually migrated to the top of their heads, eventually becoming the blowholes we associate with modern cetaceans. Ear structures adapted to underwater hearing, although echolocation had not yet developed. In this transitional phase, amphibious life still held significance for these primitive animals, with some females continuing to give birth on land. The emergence of bats introduced a remarkable adaptation to the world of flight. Caranectris, one of the earliest bats, already displayed the distinctive features of modern bats. Its wings could span up to 35 centimeters or 14 inches, with a long tail serving as a rudder. Although its legs remained relatively small, preventing it from hanging upside down, it possessed fur and thrived in warm climates, primarily feeding on insects. Even the earliest bats exhibited the ability to flap their wings. Another order of mammals, Dermoptera, brought forth creatures known as flying lemurs. These arboreal mammals excelled at gliding, using a sail-like membrane that stretched between their wrists, ankles, and tail when leaping from branches. This unique adaptation allowed them to glide impressive distances, often exceeding 100 meters or 330 feet. In the midst of these evolutionary developments, the plant world also underwent significant changes. The emergence of herbaceous flowering plants marked a pivotal moment in plant evolution. These plants owed their success to the presence of pollinating insects, while animals such as bats and birds contributed to seed and fruit dissemination. Herbaceous plants displayed a remarkable resilience, with the ability to thrive even when regularly grazed by animals. This adaptability allowed them to flourish in diverse environments, from lush rainforests to arid deserts, and from cold mountain climates to tropical regions. Grasses, a subset of herbaceous plants, played a vital role in providing food and energy for wildlife. Herbaceous plants also possessed a unique secret: their capacity to survive and thrive despite being frequently cropped by animals. Trimming their leaves did not hinder their growth. These plants were particularly well-suited to grasslands, an environment that sustained herbivorous mammals. As the story of evolution continued, a group of plants emerged, herbaceous flowering plants, that significantly contributed to the proliferation of life. These plants thrived through interactions with pollinating insects and animals that consumed their seeds and fruits. Among these plants, grasses played a pivotal role. These angiosperms featured complex flowers housing both male and female reproductive organs, eventually giving rise to fruits after fertilization. Fruits became instrumental in seed dispersal, aided by various animals, wind, and water. This dispersion allowed plants to colonize continents even before the complete separation of Gondwana. Birds, small feathered creatures with a remarkable lineage, trace their origins back to theropod dinosaurs, terrestrial predators of the Jurassic era. Despite their distant ancestors being land-based, the survival of some bird species defies expectations. These avian ancestors are believed to have galloped on land, a far cry from their current flying prowess. The evolution of flight, an adaptation now inextricably linked with birds, was an incredible journey. Before the arrival of the meteorite impact that forever changed Earth's ecosystems, birds had already established a long history. One of the earliest known avian species, Archaeopteryx, appeared around 150 million years ago at the close of the Jurassic period. This remarkable creature possessed the body and teeth of a reptile combined with feathers characteristic of birds. It stands as the missing link bridging the gap between reptiles and modern birds. Archaeopteryx likely descended from a small terrestrial coelurosaur, a group that included both small, agile carnivores like Compsognathus and massive, iconic predators like Tyrannosaurus. Some coelurosaurs were adorned with feathers and exhibited the ability to fly, with skeletons strikingly similar to that of birds. Feathers, the quintessential feature of modern birds, underwent a gradual transformation during evolution. They are believed to have evolved from reptilian scales and ancient feather structures. Early feathers had a different form and function, primarily serving as insulation to retain body heat and protect against cold. Some of the earliest feathers exhibited a simpler, unstructured branching pattern, distinct from today's modern feathers. The kiwi, a flightless bird species, bears feathers that resemble hair, a simplification likely reflecting their lack of need for flight. Feathers also played diverse roles in display, camouflage, recognition, and mate attraction. They served as protective covers for eggs, shielding them from the sun or providing insulation by trapping air. Additionally, feathers played a role in sexual displays. Flight, defined as the active generation of energy for aerial movement, required specific physiological adaptations. This complex mechanism allowed animals to propel themselves through the air using their own power. It was an energy-intensive process involving distinct physiological characteristics. The evolution of flight in animals requires a set of specific adaptations, including hollow bones, a sturdy sternum, breastbone, and a perched foot structure. To achieve flight, an animal must possess an airworthy wing capable of generating the necessary flight strokes. Neuromuscular coordination plays a crucial role in efficient navigation, and metabolic levels must support sustained flight for extended periods. Archaeopteryx, one of the early avian ancestors, already exhibited an airworthy wing, allowing it to generate the required flight strokes. It possessed an ear canal that indicated its ability to navigate three-dimensional space, a crucial trait for creatures traversing the skies. However, its flight capabilities were likely limited, suggesting various scenarios for the acquisition and evolution of flight. One hypothesis suggests that flight might have originated from arboreal settings, with certain species climbing high enough to jump, glide, and eventually achieve flight. Another scenario suggests that some animals may have started by running along the ground while flapping protowings, gradually gaining thrust and lift until achieving liftoff. Despite fluctuations in environmental conditions, birds have persevered as the sole heirs of the dinosaurs. Today, around 10,000 bird species are known, though only a few, including Archaeopteryx and pterosaurs, existed during the dinosaur era. Most modern bird orders took shape approximately 55 million years ago. Speciation within these groups was influenced by shifting patterns of glaciation, resulting in cooling and drying of the climate. Around 60 million years ago, a significant volcanic event in the North Atlantic released carbon dioxide, leading to a warming of the atmosphere and ocean waters. This event destabilized stored methane and sediments, causing a sudden climatic warming. These conditions favored the rapid diversification of mammals, enabling them to master both swimming and flying. Continental movements played a vital role in climate change around 34 million years ago, causing global temperatures to decrease and seasons to become more pronounced. Some land bridges emerged due to a regression in the arm of the sea separating Europe from Asia, facilitating the exchange of fauna and flora on both sides. Further geological changes, including the separation of North America and Scandinavian Europe, occurred after the warming period, leading to the formation of ice ages. Antarctica underwent a widespread freeze-up, surrounded by ocean currents that prevented warm water from reaching it. Several factors, including shifts in Earth's axis tilt and changes in ocean currents, contributed to the changing climate, which became colder and drier. This environmental transformation led to shifts in landscapes, with grasslands and savannas replacing forests. Herbivorous species adapted to these changes, with large grass-eating animals becoming prevalent. The evolution of mammals resulted in an array of diverse forms and the emergence of true giants, comparable in size to the largest dinosaurs. Being large provided advantages, such as reduced predation risk and a stable body temperature with lower energy expenditure. However, large herbivores required substantial quantities of vegetation, making them less numerous and more vulnerable during crises. Among these large mammals was the Bulochitherium, a hornless rhinoceros reaching impressive dimensions, and the Uindotherium, recognizable by its enormous bony head growths. These herbivores thrived in various ecological niches, with some, like Dinosaurs, specializing as scavengers, capable of crushing bones with their powerful jaws. Megatherium, a member of the indentate family, resembled modern sloths but lived on the ground due to its massive size. As grasslands and savannas expanded, animals continued to adapt, and new herbivore species replaced their predecessors. Ruminants, a group of hoofed herbivores with specialized stomachs for digesting tough grasses, emerged around 35 million years ago. These animals included ancestors of giraffes, deer, cows, and antelopes, which ultimately settled in Asia, the Americas, and Africa. One intriguing creature, the Eohippus, appeared during this period, displaying 5 horns on its skull and elk-like features. These remarkable adaptations contributed to the ever-diversifying world of mammals, each species evolving to thrive in their unique environments. The Civatherium, one of the early giraffes, thrived in India. It differed significantly from modern giraffes, being smaller and more robust with large horns. Herbivores were evolving, growing and arming themselves with horns and tusks as a means of defense. Carnivores were also undergoing significant changes. Some became small, agile tree climbers, diversifying their diet to include meat, fruits, leaves, eggs, and insects. Over time, their descendants developed large, sharp teeth that functioned like shears, marking the emergence of true carnivores exclusively feasting on flesh. 2 distinct lineages of carnivores emerged, one giving rise to wolves, bears, and seals, and the other leading to hyenas and felines. In certain species, fangs grew long and strong, resulting in impressive predators known as saber-toothed tigers. These predators, despite their name, were not related to actual tigers. Their skulls had to adapt to accommodate these massive canines, giving them a relatively short face and powerful neck musculature. The flattened and serrated canines allowed saber-toothed tigers to dispatch their prey by biting into the throat. Saber-toothed predators appeared in multiple lineages, demonstrating similar adaptations even in species that might be distantly related. Rodents, characterized by their sharp teeth, possessed continuously growing incisors that naturally sharpened when they rubbed against each other. This adaptation granted them the ability to cut through food or wood. Before rodents, small primitive mammals known as multituberculates had a similar dentition. However, after their disappearance, rodents rose to prominence, now comprising nearly half of all mammal species worldwide. The earliest rodents originated in Asia and subsequently spread across the globe, including reaching Australia. They diversified and adapted to various environments, with some becoming semi-aquatic like beavers, others arboreal, and still others burrowing deep into the earth. While most rodents are small in size, a few rare species, such as the Phoberemes, reached much larger sizes, weighing nearly 700 kilograms or 1,500 pounds. Phoberemes belong to the guinea pig and capybara family. Another significant family to emerge during this era was the proboscideans, with modern elephants being their last descendants. Primitive elephants, exemplified by Moratherium, resembled pigs in size and had short legs. They spent much of their time in water, lacked a full proboscis, but possessed a thick and mobile upper lip. As time progressed, some species developed shorter trunks, with the elephant's iconic trunk resulting from the fusion of the nose and upper lip. To accommodate their massive heads, elephants evolved short necks, limiting their mobility to reach vegetation. The trunk proved to be an indispensable adaptation for their survival. Mass extinctions, although catastrophic, had profound consequences for biodiversity. While they led to the demise of many species and disrupted ecosystems, they also opened up ecological niches for new life forms to emerge. The Earth's history is a tale of unforeseen events, both terrestrial and extraterrestrial, continually shaping and reshaping life on our planet. Fossil remains, buried deep within the Earth's layers, unveil this rich history, reminding us of our place within it. Modern humans may not be present in this chapter, but their ancestors are well represented. Without the disappearance of the dinosaurs, the course of evolution might have taken an entirely different path, and we wouldn't be here today to discuss it.